significance of this particular day?
Okay. Thank you very much. Mwesigwa, the Director of Desert Locust Control Organization for Eastern Africa, a body that is mandated to control and manage migratory pests in the region. Desert Locust Control Organization is in 9 member countries, stretching from Djibouti to Sudan, down to Tanzania. And our mandate is focused on 4 major objectives. That is aerial survey and control of desert locust and other migratory pests. We do applied research on these pests and pesticide use. We do forecasting and information sharing, and we do also do capacity building in the member countries. The significance of this meeting today is that the 3 frontline countries, we have frontline countries and invasion countries. Frontline countries is where the breeding takes place of these migratory pests, especially desert locusts. So the 3 frontline countries came together to have collaboration and working together so that they can solve the problem, they can mitigate the effect of these migratory pests. You will note that desert locusts and all migratory pests have no passports. They don't need passports to cross the borders. They can always go anywhere at any time. So we believe that when these 3 countries come together and mitigate the effects and impacts of these migratory pests, then the other countries in the region, in the DRCO member countries region, will be safe.
Perhaps how will you enable seamless transfer of data between the countries? Because most of this data is attached to national security, for instance. Aerial data is not easily shared by governments to governments. So how will you ensure this seamless transfer of data or data sharing across the regions which are affected?
Okay, thank you. You see, DRCO was established in 1962. This is a 62-year-old organization and was established by signing of a convention, an international convention signed by all member states. And this convention mandates DRCO to collect and disseminate data within the member states and even other stakeholders. So that is not a big problem. IGAD is also working on a data sharing mechanism, but we have been sharing this information for all these years, over 6 decades, so it is not a big problem because this is something that is affecting food security, and if you know that there is food insecurity, then there will be political instability. I want people to always connect the 2, because when people are hungry, then they'll be angry. So we have to put all our efforts on securing the food security within the region so that we can, through mitigation of these migratory pest impacts.
When the East African countries that you represent were invaded by locusts, did you assess the impact that we got in terms of the food security?
Yes, there are several reports that, there are assessment reports that were published. I'll be maybe able to share them with you so that you can have the details. But the impact was immense. It affected livelihoods, it affected the smallholder farmers especially, and also even after the upsurge. Through the control mechanism that we are using chemicals, there were several environmental impacts affecting especially the apiaries, the people who are in honey production. So what we try to do with these projects is that we address the problem before it escalates. Because once you do early warning and early action, then you avoid use of, for example, these chemicals in other countries of invasion. Because in early action, for example, in Somalia, we are using biopesticides. Biopesticides are friendly. They have no serious environmental impacts on both humans and animals. So that is why such interventions are very important.
So what is the capacity of Kenya? We spoke about the capacity, strengthening the capacity, bringing the issue locally. What is the capacity of Kenya? And are there any glaring issues that maybe are coming up or something?
Yeah, after the 2019-2020 upsurge, it was an eye-opener. Desert Locust Control Organization of Eastern Africa came in with their aircraft to do aerial spraying of these locusts, the swarms that had invaded. You know, this went even as far as Uganda, which had never experienced this for the last 70 years. So Kenya as a country, our operational base actually is based here in Kenya. As DRCO, we are at Wilson Airport. That's where our aircraft are parked. And after that upsurge, the countries reinvigorated their efforts in enhancing preparedness by having mechanisms and strategies to address the issue of migratory pests, by having establishment of committees, and I believe now Kenya is more prepared than it was in 2019.
When you speak about the frontline countries, Djibouti, are there any glaring challenges that maybe you foresee might be coming in the near future? Maybe?
I think the most important thing we look at here is the capacity to address the challenge. The challenge is always there, but how prepared are we as countries, member countries, and as regional organizations such as DRCO? How prepared are we to address these challenges? And I think that is something that we have to focus on, to build our capacities as member countries and regional organizations so that we are able to do early action and respond in time to some of these challenges, the upsurges and invasions of these migratory pests.
And the migratory patterns, has it changed over time due to climate change, and perhaps what can you say about this?
Yes, thank you very much. You realize that climate change has played a very significant role in the spread and breeding of migratory pests. This is to do with the desert locusts, this is to do with the quillia birds, armyworm, and DRC also manages sesaflies within the region. You realize that before, maybe 10 years ago, we used to do quillia bird control in Ethiopia and Tanzania for a maximum of 3 to 4 months in a year. But now, over 60% of the DRCO's operational resources are on quillia bird control in these member states. Because of the increased agricultural activity, expansion of irrigation, so that we can produce more food and also meet the shortfalls of importing grains, we have expanded production in these countries. And that means we have pushed the birds from the habitats by expansion of the farms. So the birds have to get what to eat. So the breeding patterns and the agricultural activity within the region has increased infestations, especially of quillia birds. And when we do quillia birds control, we are saving these regions millions of dollars in would-be lost grain and also substituted importation.
The pesticide that was used for the aerial spraying, it did not have any impact on the crops, like negative impact on the crops and on the environment maybe, or it was a challenge and you're also looking to work on it?
Why we emphasize focusing on frontline countries is because we know that when it comes to swarms for desert locusts, there are no other options apart from using chemicals. If we focus on the frontline countries, when these desert locusts are still in their young stages, we are using biopesticides, which are harmless to the environment. So that's why we are focusing on this, because we are all aware that chemicals have environmental effects. They affect humans, they affect water bodies, but then we have no option. That's why we are coming up with these approaches of addressing the problem before it escalates to cause us more impacts. Thank you.